us the opening prayer. And I'd like to call on Dr. Roberts to please step forward to say the opening prayer. Can we just celebrate Jesus in his life as he gives the opening prayer?
We thank you for the privilege you have given us all to be alive today. Thank you for the blessings of the nation's 62nd Independence Anniversary celebrations. Thank you for your purpose for this nation. Thank you for the purpose for which you have brought it and every one of us here safely this morning. Father, accept our thanksgiving in Jesus' name. Lord, we welcome your presence in this place. We ask that direct every affairs of this meeting in the name of Jesus. Let your purpose for the nation and let your purpose of this gathering be fulfilled in Jesus' name. And at the end of it all, let your name be glorified. Father, thank you because we know it is done. Thank you for everyone you have brought here safely. Thank you for those who are still coming on their way. For in Jesus' most holy and wonderful name we have prayed.
Yeah. Right. And we are telling you that in commemoration of the 62nd anniversary of Nigeria's independence. Of course, this event is also being live, and I know that quite a number of people are already joining us through the Google Meet, and as soon as they have the numbers of some, they may also be interacting with us at some point. So, permit me to introduce my colleague who will also be anchoring this event along with me. The Spirit is one, and I'll be bringing him on. We will be giving you the citations of quite a number of the people who will be speaking to us on this event. But then, before I introduce myself, please let me also bring him on to grab the mic and then also introduce himself, and then we can go into the introduction of the guest speakers. Please come on and have the mic now. Shall we just celebrate God in his life also?
This event. My name is Apostle Simon Omojo Opanashi. I reside over Greenwood Church. I'm a Nigerian. I believe in Nigeria. And I believe that this event will have a great impact in development of our nation, Nigeria, and certainly to get it right. Please help me welcome my colleague to please continue. Thank you for welcoming. And great Nigerians who are going to make presentations are going to speak to us today, and we are going to be enlightened by their wealth of experience. We have in our midst here this morning one of our speakers who will just give a brief introduction. By the time they'll be doing their presentations, we will read out their citations and then we will fully introduce them to us. But here with us this morning is my own brother. We have Ismail. We have the same origin, even though from different tribes, and we know ourselves. And he's here with me, a great Nigerian, a great intellectual. We have with us Mr. Ibrahim, Michael Ibrahim Magaji, here with us this morning. I'd like to please welcome you. Help me to welcome Mr. Michael Ibrahim Magaji this morning. Help me welcome him. Celebrate him. Thank you for coming. He's a management and development consultant who will give more details when the time comes. But this man, our guest speaker today is a man that has achieved, God has helped him to achieve in a short time of his life here on earth. So thank you once again. You are highly welcome. We also have Alan here with us this morning in this occasion, the citizens. We have Professor Felix Adakole-Odike. He is a professor of Jurisprudence and International Law. You're highly welcome. Thank you. Let me welcome you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We'll be welcoming Mr. Dari later when he's around. Is he here? He's coming. Okay. Mr. Dari is on his way. By the time he arrives, we'll welcome him specially. Thank you. Enjoy yourself. Be free to participate because it's going to be a very interesting discussion here today as we commemorate the 62nd birthday and independence of our nation, Nigeria. Thank you. Let me bring to the microphone my brother, my colleague, Mr. Bambola. Thank you.
I want to appreciate everyone this morning. I believe strongly that all of us, we need a new Nigeria. And that is why what we are doing is to educate our people and to let them know that it's possible. And I believe, by the grace of God, after this, people will see and they will believe. In the name of the Lord Jesus. Praise the Lord. Well, I want to thank God for my brother, the chairman. We have been working together all along. Mr. Shola Shuke, and all the speakers, Professor Felix Adakole-Odike. I want to welcome you. Mr. Babarinsa is not yet here, but will be soon here. And my very good friend, Magaji, he's a seasoned management and he's a politician. You want to become a senator very soon. So the masters, both my friend, Apostle, Panashi, and Abuja, you are welcome in Jesus' name. I warmly welcome you all to this August meeting. Tap Nigeria Decide 2023. Get it right. As an agitation towards having the right person of the aim of our fears in the general and gubernatorial election coming up in less than 6 months to this time. According to the lyrics of our old national anthem that sings, Nigeria, hail thee, our own dear native land. Though tribes and tongues may differ, in brotherhood we stand. Nigeria are all proud to serve our sovereign motherland. Nigeria is like a conjoined twins, held together with a boundary, not by choice, but by force. We have lived and endured till tomorrow as a nation for 62 years, when most of us sitting in this meeting were not yet born. And those who were around at that time could not even decide for themselves when the journey was effected. The history of the country started with 3 regions: Northern, Western, and Eastern region. Where for each region raised its resources and developed in the brand. The country was divided into 12 states and later 19, and she did not stop dividing until we grew to become 36 states. According to history, the feet of a real country expired with the end of that 3 regions, and our problem emanated from putting scarcity in the wrong hole. And right before our eyes, we lost the nepotism, favoritism, tribalism, religiosity, federal character, and division, which later brought corruption, frauds, and other vices in our places of the country. Everything rises and falls on leadership. If a family is not doing well, do not blame the children. Ask the father why things are going wrong. Nigeria have a changed economic planning for prayer section, and we replace public administration with tribal war and religious bigotry. I implore us at this time, let us get it right. If I contest a post and you discover I'm not qualified to run the position, do not vote me. Even if I'm your brother, your kinsman, best friend or neighbor, what we are saying, don't look at me, look at my character, look at my capability. Our lives and that of the next generation depend on our choice. Let's do it right there and make things right. The citizen vision is to educate and populate others. And may the Lord bless us in Jesus' name. Thank you for coming, and God will continue to bless you all in Jesus' name.
The second birthday anniversary we celebrated 3 days ago. It's been a long journey, but it's been a long tutorial journey. But God has sustained Nigeria, and we believe that He will continue to sustain Nigeria. So congratulations once again. God bless us. Thank you. Let me quickly make this observation. I'm wearing a shoe that is too big for me because if you look at the table, I'm not fit and qualified to untie the lace of the shoes of the gallows on this table. And Dr. Ajayi further compounded my problem by making me chairman in an occasion where the man who mentored me in journalism is a speaker. But thank God he hasn't come yet. I'm talking about Chief Ibrahim Babarinsa. He was my boss in Int'l magazine. When the military press was the Concord Press of Nigeria, I was the last editor of UK Concord. Then, because I was jobless, they grabbed me. So I continued my apprenticeship in Int'l. I bless God for how far God has led us. Some of us died in the struggle, but some of us assisted by the grace of God. I give God the glory. I will say that I wish to congratulate Dr. Ajayi for the citizens. And in congratulating you, sir, I want to go into the word of God that says we should not despise the days of this beginning. Yes, we look at the all. And you say, it depends on how you see a glass of water. You can see a glass of water as half full or half empty. The positive is half full. So I would rather see a quality half full or than an illegal market where chaos reigns supreme. So sir, please do not be discouraged. You have started something that is fundamental. The platform that everybody makes a reference point to, it starts a platform that has been doing today. It started like a small fellowship, and now it has snowballed. By the grace of God, these two shall snowball. It shall be known all over the world. Amen. And it's not just going to be an ordinary talk shop. It will be a gathering with impact. A gathering that will impact our generation, our country, our continent, and the world. So shall it be in Jesus' name. When I was reflecting over my role this morning and what to say, as a writer, I was tempted to lament. And I asked myself, at this juncture in our history, do we continue to lament or weep? If we say, okay, let's continue weeping for our nation, we will weep gallons and gallons, and we only end up adding to the current of flood water that is devastating some parts of Nigeria. So weeping may not necessarily solve the problem. Therefore, we need an event like this, where we come together, although there is no way we will not lament. If you look at where we are coming from, like we have pause to welcome my mentor, my trainer, my teacher, my professor, my everything. After God in this job, Chief Babarinsa is the next as far as I'm concerned. You are welcome, sir. And before I took the podium, I said something at your back. I said, Dr. Akinola and Dr. Ajayi compounded my problem this morning by making me a chairman where Babarinsa will be a speaker. but I'll try and go. I'll try and go. So I'll say it like I'll say it. Okay. I'm not complete with this.
And having a conversation on the forthcoming election in 2023. And this conversation is about getting it right this time around. This conversation is also about getting the right individuals to govern our nation. And we have had people that governed us in the past and still governing us. And when they come on the stage, instead of you who want to employ the person, assessing the person, seeing his capability, can he be able to deliver? Does he have what to add does he have value to add to your company? And you are not interested in what he's bringing on board. You are interested and are carried away by his appearance, carried away by what he says, and then you just employ the fellow. And I believe that this is the reason why the convener has rightly titled this event, Getting It Right, that the citizens have enormous responsibility in choosing who governs them. And in this case, we have to assess them properly and not be deceived, by their qualification, but they have the capacity to govern the complex country of ours. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome to this event. And there are people that have been eminently selected to speak to us, to address our hearts. And then that will help us to make positive decisions. And it is in that light we want to bring the first speaker to address this gathering. Like the chairman says, we will not look at whether everybody is here or not. But one thing that is important is that you and I are here, and those of us that are here and some who are watching online will take the message home and be able to influence decisions and be able to take charge and take our nation back to ourselves. And we have this eminent Nigerian that is going to speak to us, the first speaker this morning. Of course, he has been introduced, a very humble person. He's a professor of Jurisprudence and International Law. He has an OND in LTA, OND, Science, LLB, Horns, LLB, the BL, LLM, PhD, former Dean, Faculty of Law, National Open University, Abuja, Nigeria. Is currently the Director, National Open University of Nigeria, Special Studies Center for Nigerian Immigration Service, Babarinsa, FCT, Abuja. Is no other person than Professor Felix Adakole-Odike. Help me welcome him as he presents the first lecture on this event. When you are clapping for a lawyer, clap very well, because you can do this and possibly prosecute you. but to say you are in suspect. Thank you.
I'll have the order.
Why they do that? I believe that because what you are going to speak to your audience about are familiar things. And from what we have heard from the chairman of education, even the MC, these are familiar things. Of course, incompetence, nepotism, corruption, bad governance is not a regional thing. It's not localized in the southwest. It pervades some part of Nigeria. Go to the north, you see corruption. Come to the south, you see nepotism. Come to the west, you see bad governance. Nice audience. Permit me to acknowledge some persons. First of all, gentleman convener, I'm happy you invited me. You are a friend, and I respect you a lot, and there's no call you will call that I will not hearken to. The topic for today is apt. It is the topic of the moment. Our nation is a quagmire. Babarinsa, you are a legend in your choosing profession. When I was growing up in the rural area in Benue State, your writings were all delights. I devoured them. And you count my public perception in a way. So I found it an honor being on the same podium, sitting side by side with you to make a presentation. Magaji, your words are worldwide. I've been called upon today to talk on an important topic. I'm a professor of law, but I know that the gentleman convener, if he invites a priest, a pastor, or a preacher like him to speak on this important topic, the priest or the pastor will speak on the issue of Nigerian decided 2023, get it right, as the Spirit directs him. But I am not a priest. I am not a pastor. If he invites a politician, the politician surely will speak on the topic, Nigeria decide 2023, get it right, as he deems will please the audience. I'm not here to please you. I'm a professor. I will speak as I know it. But before I speak, let me give you a story. My story is from the Greek mythology. It is about Pandora box. I guess you must have heard about Pandora box. How did it start? In the Greek mythology, there are so many gods. There's Zeus, there's Artemis, there's Athena, there's Aphrodite. But Pandora was or is a god specifically mandated to take charge of things that can cause living on earth difficult. Things like earthquake, affliction, plagues, hates, dislike. So his job is he will be going about looking for things that make your life living on earth is called not pleasurable. He will lock it up, he will catch it and lock it in his box. But once in a while he goes to heaven to give account to God on how he has been doing his work. The key is attached to the box. So anytime he's leaving, he will give an instruction to his wife. Don't open the box. This particular occasion he went to God and he was giving his account, the superior God then he noticed that somebody is trying to open the box. His wife. He took permission and flew down. But upon landing, he was able to lock everything flew out except one thing. He was able to lock one thing. And that plague, hatred, gluttony, earthquake, all this flew out. He was only able to lock in one thing, and that is hope. In all our worldly afflictions, we still have hope. Is that not so? This is why we have hope. Nigeria decided 2023, get it right. It's one of the best wishing one can wish this country. But it's all based on hope, on expectation, great expectation. Like I told you before, I'm going to be frank with you. I believe that even if we have a flawless election, we may not get it right. Unless, at the end of the day, because of two reasons. One, the cost of governance in Nigeria is extremely unnecessarily high. I'm going to talk about it in detail. The second thing is the fraud. We are being governed. The Constitution. A Constitution is a set of rules that govern a state or a country. The 1999 Constitution is founded on a fraud. And I'm going to dissect it and let you know. So that we don't go to town that our problem is if we elect a good leader. If you elect a good leader and you give him a bad card, what will happen? So, in the current budget of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the aggregate capital expenditure is 5.25 billion naira. That is roughly 32% of the total expenditure. But over 68% of the entire budget is devoted to current expenditure. Devoting scarce resources to maintaining only current expenditure drains the much needed resources for development, and that denies the government the ability to get it right. There are reasons for the high cost of government and its yearly budgeting in Nigeria. The causes of the bludgeoning the cost of the bludgeoning cost are of three folds. Number one, the first is caused by unethical behavior of our leaders, i.e., their corrupt practices and poor management of public resources. When the convener captioned the discussion on get it right, I want to think that what we are trying to say is that if we elect a good leader, those leaders must ensure good governance. And good governance basically is providing social amenities, being accountable to the people, public-oriented developmental projects, transparency. These are part of good governance. But the leaders we normally have poor management of resources, and again, unethical approach to issues, actual increased cost of governance. Now, you give them money, what do? They will come out with a budget that this house, this big road, we are going to build it with about 50 billion. The road will not be done. The cost of even turning a road in Nigeria is the most highest in the world. I don't know whether you know about that. Yeah. Another thing is that the second is the high cost of maintaining government officials. Too many government officials, and they are paid from government resources. And the third is the proliferation of government agencies, parastatals, and commissions. All these things drain resources. We must understand this fundamental, because if you don't know the fundamental, you think on the surface level that if we elect good leaders, we will be in our political Eldorado. We are in a quagmire not only because of insufficiency of good leaders, but the rising cost of governance. I'll go into detail with facts and figures. You know, there's something one of my lecturers told me. Facts, truth is a stubborn thing. You cannot wish it the way you settle it. Can you? According to the irreplaceable Senator Shehu, who once represented Kaduna Senatorial District, senators in Nigeria receive 750,000 naira each as basic salaries per month. You can do the calculation. I'm also doing it here. Add to that, a senator collects 13.5 million naira per month as running costs. This means that in a month, a senator in Nigeria is entitled to 14.25 million financial packages. Additionally, a senator in Nigeria is entitled to constituency project allowance of 200 million per year. And this is domiciled in different ministries. And you know what they do with their constituency allowance. I hope I'm not frightening you. Nigerian senators also receive the following allowances: furniture allowance, car allowance, and severance packages. And let me explain it to you. The furniture allowance is every election. Even if you go 5 times, you collect 5 furniture allowances. If you win your election 5 times, you collect 5 car allowances. So Lawan, being the president of the Senate, has collected 5 furniture allowances, 5 cars. Okay. If you compute these allowances for the purpose of comparison, if you compute the allowances in US dollars, it is about what, and now compare it with what United States senators, all the allowances they collect. The US senators collect $174,000 US in a year. The Nigerian senator collect $450,000 in a year. That is 2 times higher. This is over 2.5 times higher than $174,000 US that is the senator in the United States collect. And let me tell you, incidentally, the House of Rep member in the United States collect the same amount of money like the senator in the United States. But look at how our problem is. In our state, we have 36 states, and each state have what? 3 senators, plus 1 from Abuja. But the US is bigger than Nigeria, richer than Nigeria, more powerful than Nigeria. They only have 2 senators per state. And the money their senators collect is $174,000 per year, while our own is $350,000 multiplied by 109. And again, all these senators have personal aides. They are paid by the government. And you should know that why do we even have to have 3 states? Look at Bayelsa State, for example. Bayelsa State have 9 local government or 6. A local government in Benin State, where I come from, that is Musi, Benin South Senatorial District. We have 9 local government making a senatorial district. Yet, 6 states or 3 or 9 states making a state having 3 senators. I come from this senatorial district where the former Senate President Ibrahim comes from. And if you go to my hometown now, the road that passes through my hometown called Adakole-Odike is like, is there any place in Lagos as bad as that? A House of Representative member in Nigeria earns 600,000 naira as basic salary per month. In addition, a member receives 12 million naira as running costs. This means the total money he or she receives per month to about 15.2 million naira per annum, 151.2 million naira per annum. The dollar equivalent of that sum is roughly $398,000 US per annum. By comparison, a member of the Nigerian House of Representatives earns $224,000, more than his US counterpart. And this increased cost of governance, a comparative analysis of the number of ministers Nigeria have with other leading democracies in the world shows that Nigeria have 44 ministers, including ministers of state, and that is too high for a struggling economy and democracy like ours. The United States, as economically and politically mighty as it is, has 15 secretaries, that is ministers, as members of cabinet. And that is in a country of about 50 states and a population of about 330 million people. The United Kingdom has 21 ministers, of ministers of parliament. India, with a population approaching 1.4 billion people, has only 90 ministers in her cabinet. Germany also has 15 cabinet ministers, and the constitution of our close by neighbor Ghana provides for a minimum of 10 cabinet ministers and a maximum of 19 cabinet ministers. Apart from this, what we are seeing at the federal level, we also drain the multiple resources when we look at the political appointees we have at state levels. The state and local government constitute the bulk of financial waste in the public sector. There are 36 states in Nigeria, and each state have a House of Assembly. Presently, there are 1,022 members, and each of the members is entitled to some aides and personal staff. So in Nigeria, if you compute all the House of Assembly members, there are 1,022, and all of them have first PAs. I think you know that House of Assembly members have PA. And these things are paid from government funds. You know, the last time I collect my, they paid me. There's a style that is going in the federal service now. I don't know whether it's because money is not going around. Today, your mate, maybe they are first bank, they will collect their salary. You will not see your salary. You have to wait for next month. It is not only at the state level. But all these appointees, PAs, you have special advisor, you have senior special advisor, you have advisor, and these advisors also have advisor. And I ask myself, who are their advisors? Why do we have all those things? The funniest thing is that they don't even have office. A state in northwest Nigeria have 900, the government have 900 political aides. In neighboring Cross River State here, they are running up to 1,000 PAs for government. If you go to our local government too, you know what is there. We still have a replica of waste at the local government. I hope I'm not exceeding my time. I've targeted myself within 45 I will stop, so that you have questions you can ask. Now, I won't go into detail. Maybe during the course of question, I will be able to answer some of the things you are raising. Let's go to the second point. The second point is the fraud called the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The cost of government is unrealistically high and clearly unsustainable given the economic quagmire the country is presently facing. This is why one can confidently say that even after a successful election in 2023, Nigeria may not get it right. The former president set up a presidential committee on the rationalization and structuring of federal parastatals, commissions, and agencies. That panel is popularly called the Orosanye panel. It was named after the former head of service, Mr. Stephen Orosanye. The Orosanye panel, which was the panel submitted this report in 2011, stated that there were 541 federal parastatals, commissions and agencies, statutory and non-statutory. The report added that 263 of the statutory agencies should be reduced to 161. 38 agencies should be outrightly abrogated, while 52 agencies should be merged. It further recommended that 14 agencies should revert to government ministries. Up till now, that recommendation has not been implemented. They were operating as a separate independent states. But they say, look, as an individual state, we may not be able to withstand Britain. So let us form a confederation. So they have a confederation. The confederation was based on articles of confederation. Then later on in 1781, they decided to tinker with the constitution of the confederation. And they now elected delegates from the 13 states. The delegate drafted a constitution which became the U.S. Constitution of 1789. Most of the people are well known, like Benjamin Franklin from New York. You have, I think Benjamin Franklin is from New York. Then you have Alexander Hamilton, and you have James Madison. These are top class lawyers. with other persons, they now constituted a panel. After drafting that constitutional panel, they invited delegates from the 30 states in America that came and ratified it as a proposal. Later on, they sent a proposal to the states to ratify. The state ratified it. But let's see what we did. General Salami, when the military wanted us to give up the current constitution, set up a constitution coordinating committee headed by Justice Nicky Tubi. These people went around saying they are gathering information from Nigerians how to write a constitution. After gathering whatever they gathered and saying the recommendation, they condensed it into a constitution, a legal document, and gave it to the military. The military now decreed it as a constitution for us, and they are calling it "We the People of Nigeria." It should be "We the Military of Nigeria," having firmly and solemnly resolved to make a constitution for the people of Nigeria. I tell you what, if these constitutions were actually made by the people of Nigeria, the deformities in the constitution will not be there. If you look at the exclusive legislative list, about 62 items were given to the federal government. Making the building of airports and maintenance of airports is a federal right. Individuals can do that. Building of prison is a federal right. State can build prison. Postal services is a federal right. These courier services that bosses are doing, what is so unique about courier service? There are so many items that state or in the railway, individuals can do it. In the Great Revolution, most railway lines in Europe were done by corporations, companies. Now, if individuals can build railways, there will be employment, things will have, state will generate resources. You have Ministry of Lands, you have Ministry of Agriculture, under the Federal Ministry of Agriculture. Where are the lands? The lands are in the state. The federal government can have a department that regulates agricultural matters within the state, not to have the Ministry of Agriculture. Look at the billions they are even using our money to build mosques. In the eternal words of an American writer, he says, and I quote, Thomas Jefferson, he said, "Man has set up government whose authority rests on their consent. We are the ones that have the sovereignty." And that is what our constitution says. Our constitution in section 14, subsection 2 says sovereignty belongs to the people. And that is what Thomas Jefferson is saying, that man has set up government whose authority rests on their consent. And when the government ceases to do what it has been set up to do, each citizen has the right to challenge it in order to once again provide for their safety and happiness. We are not happy in this country. Look at insecurity. I'm happy that there was a paper I presented about state police. I advocated that there should be a state police. And even if you cannot have a state police, the command structure of the police that makes all the commissioner of police answerable to the IG should be amended to make it in such a way that state commissioners are answerable to the governor, because the governor is the chief secretary of a state. If the governor gives a valid order to the commissioner of police, he wants to listen to the IG before he listens to the commissioner, to the governor. There should be a constitutional provision. If we agree that governors of state are actually the chief secretary of that state, then commissioner of police should be answerable to them. But it's not so. Now the northern governors and their chief, our chiefs, have agreed that there should be state police because they have seen what is going on. No one travels again. When my friend invited me, I said I'm coming for a friendly chat, but it's unofficial. But I can't fly. I can't drive. I can't use land. If not, even traveling on the road is better than air. Because when you go up, oh Lord, here I come, your prayer is something else. But when you are traveling along the road, you see the sceneries, the beauty of our country. You eat diverse food. You stay with people and you communicate. We are imprisoned by our government. We may not get it right unless we do these things. These are my recommendations. A deliberate effort to prune the ever-rising cost of governance. We must ensure we prune down the ever-rising cost of governance. 2, there must be a revolutionary approach to our constitution. We don't want this evolutionary approach of amendments. Late after the election, Mr. Convener, my suggestion is, in order for us to get it right, once we elect a president, let the National Assembly constitute a constitution drafting committee and go on break. Let them go on vacation. After all, they only spend 180 days legislating for us and spend 185 days outside. So once they go on break, the draft committee will draft a constitution, subject it, the National Assembly will adopt it as a proposal, then subject it to stakeholders within the state to ratify. Then we make our input. Where I come from in Benin, some of you must have read, just like I used to read the work of our legends in Int'l in those days when I was growing up. You have a state that have 22 local governments, 9 local governments in one senatorial district. Since the creation of Benin State, the government-taking area have never been a governor. It's all between the teeth. There are 2 major ethnic groups. It is because of the deformity in the constitution. If we are, as somebody from that senatorial district, if the constitution comes for us to ratification, I will insist that a clause should be in the constitution that will ensure that rotation of governorship should be by senatorial.
Yeah. Let's get ready because it's a lawyer and he's coming to talk. And he had rather put us in a very serious quagmire right now. So we thank you very much for this presentation. There are facts you have laid out for us this afternoon, and they are mind-blowing. They are very thoughtful, and we have to talk about them. Thank you. Please let's celebrate him one more time. Thank you. Now the Professor of Law has spoken to us this afternoon. Is it afternoon or morning? It's the morning. This afternoon, this morning, we'd like to recognize the wife of the convener. It will be unfair to just see a lady on the high table and we do not recognize her. A very pretty lady. I don't know why she's sitting too far from her husband. The law has said that Dr. Akin is his friend, so we are not afraid that his friend's wife is sitting close to him. So
I was trying to see what I was doing. Of course, some of you were not born there. But all of you were not born there. Only those of us who knew where we were can talk of what happened in 1787. Okay. No, we were somewhere. I was with God in heaven, and we were sending rain upon the earth around that period. But you will agree with me that that presentation was really loaded. A challenge, a tacit challenge was thrown at each and every one of us. And I want to see if I can be proven wrong at that. And see how a true constitution can actually come up, made by Nigerians for Nigerians. And I believe that when we do that, it will be a first step in getting things right. Again, we also look at the duplication or duplicity of agencies and what they call parastatals of government. The one that says some should be scrapped, some should be taken away, drawing from that, even at the detriment of everybody. And legislators take more than, number of days they used to legislate on holidays and doing oversight functions. And some of us who have served in government know what the oversight function is. When all they do is to visit you.
One of the spiritual son, lucky enough of my father, Dr. Adakole-Odike, the host of this event. And also, I want to say, standing upon the very language of our nation, which is all protocol duly observed. My question to our professor, who has done more than eloquent, I want to say that in a very few occasions I've had this opportunity, or this kind of opportunity to be in your presence. Though I came late, but notwithstanding, I have been able to benefit a lot from all that you have exposed here this morning. It really shows that you have a total clue of what is happening in this nation. But for a youth like me, I am worried over this high expense of our governance, which is high cost of governance, as you mentioned. And subject to this, my question will come from your number one recommendation, which is we must ensure we prune down the costs of governance. Sir, I am somewhat worried, very much worried. You made mention of when you started with our senators, our House of Representatives. Let me go to senators first. You mentioned that their salary range from 700 and something thousand, and they have allowance, yearly allowance of about 13-point-something million. And you mentioned another one, which is about 14 million or something like that. And in total, I think this was ranging towards 30 million. And now, there's something you also forgot, if you permit me, which is security votes. Security vote of our senators and House of Representatives is ranging between 12 to 11 to 12.5 million naira monthly. Security vote. And that security vote is supposed by the Constitution that is to be used to get security for those representatives. But at the end, that money which is given to them is given to them on fallow. What I mean by fallow? Silence. Because at the end of the month, their salaries still come from the federal government. So that means that 11 to 12.5 million naira is just going silent. It's given to them by the Constitution to pay for the security vote, but the security vote is not paid for by that money. It's also paid again from the federal government. My point, sir, is this. In all of this conglomerate, we agree with you, or my very self, I agree with you that the first thing to do in order to get a better nation for the day of tomorrow is to see how we can prune down the cost of governance. Without doing that, there is no way. Because this nation, we are living above our limits. Like you rightly said, a senator in Nigeria is any far better than a president of the United States. And that is exactly where we learn from. That ought to be where we tap from, this democracy that we so call it. Like I said in one of my books, or my first book, I stated that Nigeria is not practicing democracy. What we're practicing is millicracy. Like you said, sir, this is not democracy. Democracy is doing things right. When you go to learn something, you ought to do it better than who you learn from. But now we are doing it worse, far from who we learn from. The point, sir, is this. Can you let us know, how do you think it's possible in this kind of nation that you don't even have right to air your own view? You don't have the right, because you can air your view by holding mic like this, but then what happened to you a week later? Only God knows. Or a nation like this, where you have to watch your back and front before you say anything, when you even know that the man next to you is a criminal. So I want to know, sir, how possible is it for us to prune that cost of governance, starting from from our senators, our House of Representatives, even the presidency. Thank you very much.
I've been serving on that for the past 15 years, 20 years actually. So my submission goes as follows from the presentation from Prof. I would like to also mention that I have some privileges. I've been exposed to certain information right from my youth. One of the items that shaped my worldview was originated by Mr. Babarinsa sitting right there. I've been reading Int'l magazine from the very time it was published. That was the military era, right till when it was continuing. Now, I'm also privileged to have access to some other information in my home. I noticed that when the question was asked that how many people have seen the Constitution, I saw my own hand. I can't recall seeing any other hand of anybody who has read the Constitution in this room. I want to know some people Prof has read it, and maybe a few other hands came up. So the question goes like this. We have mentioned in your presentation, you have mentioned so many things which appear more like symptoms of a fundamental problem. It's very easy to point fingers that that person is the problem. That person is the problem. But I think we need to start looking inward as a people. If you bring the decision on what to do about the Constitution to contribute to make we the people, how do people who have no idea what the Constitution is, what it does, how it affects their lives, how it affects the outcome of their lives, how do they contribute and select people that should go and speak for them? That's one of the fundamental challenges we have. I think we also need to look at our educational system. I'd like Prof to also expand on that. That what are those things we need to do to carry our people along, such that from primary school, secondary school, they know what the Constitution is. Sir, I not to sound arrogant, I would like to dispute a few of the things you have mentioned. And I will not go into full details, but I have made my personal research also, and I believe that as a professor, you would like your students who are ready to stand before you and argue your points from their own perspective. So, for instance, we look at the salary of our senators and whatever. Yes, in the case of our station, it's very high, it's expensive. But the reason why those allowances are there, we understand them. They are meant to, for instance, they are meant to maintain offices in the constituency and in Abuja, staffed by a number of people. What is the real reasonable cost to carry out that role? Then the other thing is, are they doing it? So these are the questions we need to ask. Definitely that cost cannot be zero. It must come to an amount. 13.5 million sounds archaious when we listen to it. But what does it take to carry out the function that the Constitution has given them to carry out? They're supposed to know that anyway, I won't go into that. Then, sir, you mentioned some things that I feel we need to start working away from. Do we need to sustain this idea of rotational presidency or rotational governorship in a democracy? Why are we not looking at people developing their competence, developing their appeal to the people, such that when the time comes, you can appeal to people who are not of your own thought and not of your own religion, so that they can see, yes, this is the solution, this is the next person that should occupy this position and lead us. Then one more thing I'd like to also ask is on the point of I think I'll stop there.
Thank you very much.
And I want to ask this question because all we are looking at is this big burden called Nigeria, and that's why we have come together. And the the speaker, what he gave to us is thought-provoking. But my question is, can we get to the root of the matter? That's my question. Yes, these are the symptoms. Because I've had opportunity to be on a group study exchange to Norway. I was sent to Norway. There are 14 Nigerians. I happen to have been part of that team to go and see how Norway was governed and how they live their lives. And we stayed with politicians, we stayed with bankers, we stayed with owners of newspapers across the country of Norway. We were staying in their homes and we were shocked that the politicians in their own constitution, they have made a rule that the salary of any political post is a percentage above the minimum wage, no matter what it is. A percentage is fixed in the constitution, so it is not arbitrary as it is being done in Nigeria. But I'm also looking at the question Mr. Lagbe asked was what really hit me. How many of us have the constitution? I was never taught to ask for the constitution, even as a child. So the question is, can we go to the grassroots? How do we go about this change? Because we can complain about it, but it's not going to change if we don't. I don't know what to propose. I have many things in my mind, but I think Prof can help us. How do we institutionalize this change? Because if it is not institutionalized, it cannot happen. Because the reason why it cannot happen is this. I'm the daughter of a big politician, and I'm seeing the way they behave. I will learn my father's ways. I will learn the way he does it. Who will break the change? That's my question.
It's not only in the house that we say ladies first. Ladies first. She has the question last, and I'll answer her question first. And that is ladies first. I'm doing a proposal so that my university can approve this. It's called enlightenment. The question you have is very important. My research proposal is that they should fund a program for me. I will go to secondary schools, selected secondary schools in Abuja, and educate them on the provisions of the Constitution. Most people, after secondary school, join the police force, join army, they don't have any knowledge of rights in the Constitution. Some of these things you see the policemen doing, they are using their native sense in the cosmopolitan society. Sometimes I go to Abuja, I see people riding machine up and down. The way they are riding, I laugh. I say, some of these riders go to be in their local government. They have not been civilized, socialized enough to come to this. So if we can have a program where children right from secondary school levels are educated, looking at the visual, some of our constitutional provisions, you're right. If a child knows his or her right and she's confronted on the road, she can tell the man, you know, when you know something and you tell the person, this is my right. This one says so. I took my brother one day on a journey. We are going to my hometown. Police, you know, you have checkpoint. So when they stopped me, say, yes sir, can we know you? Say, I'm embarrassed. Say, go. We passed through 15 checkpoints. I was not stopped. Nobody asked me for any documents. Yes. So one day he tried to try it. So he well, no, he's not a lawyer. So he was going, they stopped him, so he's a marketer. They say, Park, where are your paper? He now tells me that he now knows that it's only Nigerian, it's only Babarinsa that police don't disturb. Why? I say, because we know the law. So when you know your rights, you can defend it. You can insist. Most things that you see politicians are doing to us is because we don't know our rights. Yes. Most things that we see our leaders doing to us is they know we're illiterate. And one way to colonize a mentality, to dominate a group, is to deny them education. You see, our fraudulent constitution provides for a right to education under Chapter 2 of the Constitution, which is not justiciable. You provide for right to life. You provide for freedom of association. You must make right to education an enforceable right, because if you don't have the education, how do you know your right to life? Are you getting the point? We need to start programming our children to know this thing from their formative age. So if somebody graduates from secondary school, join the police force, he still knows something about rights, the do's and don'ts of the society. Have I answered the question? Yes. Now, my friend, no. Why don't we make it a constitutional provision that if you are a politician, whatever allowances you are going to get is 5% of so, or your salary 5%. So no matter the position you occupy, so that if you earn beyond that, somebody can see you. We can enforce this right. I don't. If government is doing something, I like it. If we are making improvement in our electoral functions, our electoral law, we all agree. Are you getting me? So we are not out to attack them. We are saying that this thing can be done in a better way. There's a senator in the United States of America. He sleeps in his office. Our senators in Abuja have so many safe rooms. These are guest houses. You see senators that are not competent, see them sleeping at the Senate chambers. Yet they are returned. They spend more than 80 days doing virtually nothing and go on holidays for 185 days. Our children have been out of school for several days now. They are not talking, they are talking about winning the election in 2023 so that the old ways will continue. It is not their future they are talking about again, it's the future of the young ones. Gathering here, when I started reading his publication in Int'l, you know, Int'l was competing with Newswatch those days. That I'm going to say from my place. But the eloquence of writing in Int'l, I can't how do I put it? The ability to touch issues the way to speak to authority. Newswatch was a little bit conservative, but you can say tell. News watch. The Newswatch people are watching news. While they tell people are telling it as they know it. Do you understand? So my friend, these people are taking us for a ride. I expect senators to wade into these things. What are they doing? Senators, apart from this, they have PAs paid from government. They collect allowances. Go in your own constituency, change the constitution.
Development of policy options in respect of public service delivery, and have a first-hand experience of developing successful public-private partnerships. It trains people in French and English and has applied this skill in handling several capacity building programs for reputable public and private sector organizations. I wish I can just switch to French now, but I'm only very, very, very mindful of some of you, because when I begin to speak it, the majority of you will not understand.
Great journalist, a great manager of public affairs, my brother in the knowledge economy, Prof. Felix, Adakole, our ever reputable Chief Daddy Babarinsa. Please don't do that, sir. I was still a student when you were writing. Don't make that. I know your culture, there's a lot of building now. But when I was in the University of Maiduguri, where I did my first degree, in 1985, I used to read Daddy Babarinsa. We would rush to the kiosk every Tuesday afternoon. That was when Int'l arrives in Maiduguri. The physical copies of Int'l. Newswatch came first, Int'l came second in terms of delivery. And there was only one kiosk on campus that used to sell Newswatch and Int'l. And we as students, I don't know, it was 150 kobo or something then. Int'l. Very honored, sir. to be sitting on the high table today to make this presentation, learning a lot of what I know now from people like you. And Int'l had great writers from Super Whiskey, you know, just call it, they were all there. You know, Super Whiskey, Newswatch had Abbas, Yakubu Mohammed, our late legend, Deliua, and so many others, IB, Seminatari, and the rest of them. So I'm quite delighted to be here. And I want to thank, again, the convener for giving us the opportunity, because this is what I call civic engagement. Okay, getting citizens, all right? Don't worry, I'm not doctor, I'm not professor, I'm citizen Michael Magaji. Citizen Michael Magaji. And all of you also are citizens. We are citizens of this great country. And I'm very delighted to be here because increasingly, and somebody said it earlier on, we keep blaming others for our, you know, our challenges. We never look inwards and say, well, look at the man in the mirror. You know, what's he telling you? Are we really doing what we should do as citizens? Or we keep blaming the other person? Dr. Akinola has taken upon himself every year to organize this as a citizen. Governor Sawo doesn't have to be here, but I'm sure he will be here at some point. The president doesn't have to be here, but I'm sure he will be here at some point. So we also have a responsibility as citizens to be involved in governance. And this thing people are saying is politics, politicians. Go and check the dictionary of politics, the meaning of politics in the dictionary. Has not very little to do with politics. It's actually about governance, public affairs, and all of us are involved in governance. All of us are involved in public affairs, one way or another, either as operatives, or beneficiaries, or stakeholders. So I really am very grateful and thankful, and I came all the way from Taraba to be here today to join all of you.
Faithful, loyal, and honest, to serve and bear with all my strength, to defend our unity and uphold our honor and glory, so help me God.
Defend her unity, please sit down, and uphold our honor and glory. Probably the best lines for me in the national pledge, even more than the national anthem. That is the responsibility. That is why I'm here. That is why Dr. Akinola and all these great gentlemen are here. To protect Nigeria. Okay, to give Nigerians hope. And I know if I do an opinion poll around the room this morning, all of you will say we're tired. I also live in Abuja, and you go to the embassies in Abuja, full of Nigerians queuing up. From the Turkish embassy, to the Ghanaian embassy, to the Canadian embassy, the American people are selling everything they have to leave the country. Top bankers, top government officials are leaving the country. Former government officials. Top bankers who make so much money, who are doing relatively well, are already outside the country or are planning to move outside the country, even with all they have. Why is this so? Migration is not particularly new. Nigerians have always moved around the world. But most times then, it used to be on scholarships. People were sent out to go on school so they could come back with the knowledge and improve the economy. That was the primary motive. Ordinarily, people would not just travel out to go and stay. It was never the case. I mean, the Indians were here. The Filipinos were here. The Ghanaians were here. They taught us in school. This was their El Dorado. Even the Americans will tell you at one point, they preferred Nigeria to go to their own country. I live in East Africa too, in Nairobi, where part of my family is, and I see what's happening in East Africa. And a lot of Nigerians too are going to East Africa. And they are all wondering, how come people are coming here? We thought you guys are the giants of Africa. We thought you have everything, and you know, I can't tell them everything. Because that will be pushing it too far. And nation building is being thoroughly misunderstood and challenged. What does it mean to build a nation? And you know, you see the banners, you see the posters, Happy Independence Anniversary. Independence from what? Independence from who? Is that even the right nomenclature we should now use to celebrate our nation, Nigeria? Maybe we should start thinking of another name. In Kenya, they call their Independence Day Jamhuri, which is a Swahili word for republic. They don't say independence from colonial rule, for example. Okay? This is the day we were created as a nation, at least on paper. And honestly, even for me, I really wonder sometimes how 300 odd ethnic nationalities came and converged in this geography. I mean, I've never seen this kind of diversity anywhere else in the world. And that's why Nigeria is also God's gift to the world. Our diversity should be our strength. And there's nothing wrong in diversity. I've always argued that what makes the rainbow beautiful is the spectrum of colors. If the rainbow was just one color, it probably wouldn't be that beautiful. But the diversity of colors in the rainbow has made it one reality, but the properties of that one reality are constituted by several colors. And that's what makes it beautiful. So nothing wrong in being Yoruba, Igbo, Hausa, or Jukun, Kuteb, Tiv, Chamba, Igala, Idoma, nothing wrong in that. But we must start to build what we call a nation, not just by constitutional expression, but by internalizing that feeling. And I'm giving you all this preamble because, you know, it's like when you want to ask an American that same question. American, you see somebody with dreadlocks, you know, you meet him there and he's looking like a Jamaican. He tells you, no, I'm American. You see our brothers and sisters from this part of the world also in that place, and you ask them, who are you? They say, I'm an American. Freedom, liberty, access to education, access to health. So that pride in saying an American is not carrying a red or blue passport. No, it's about those elements, what I call the soft issues of nationhood. Alright? How do we express that in Nigeria? We just got up to say the pledge. And many of us in this room, I'm sure, are above 30. We probably were not there, independence. But at the time we were born, it was a normal thing to always say the pledge and the national anthem. We even had times where on Independence Day, children would line up on the streets, would be given Nigerian flags, flag. You know, no celebrations. Now, if you can't buy a Nigerian flag, forget it, you won't get it. There's no government agency you go to that will give you a free Nigerian flag. But I'm telling you that as a policy option, there were governments in this country that promoted those kind of ideas. So that today, on me, I went to federal government college, JOS. But I go everywhere in Nigeria, I have classmates. Yes, I have classmates. In Lagos, I have two in Int'l also. I have Ademola Ogunjume, they were classmates. And the Goshan. The other guy is from Ogun State. Lagos State also family. One of them came to JOS school. Yes, you know Glendora Bookshop. People know Glendora. Those guys, they're classmates of mine. But I've also had that experience, and I'm sharing it with you because I think we need to do more in that space. And in identifying our leaders, we need to understand those who have had a very balanced background. I was talking with Madam earlier on this morning when I came, and she said, you know what, Mr. Mike, I went to Abuja Zaria. She was even speaking Hausa with me. Okay, for her to have left Lagos to go to Zaria, okay, where she didn't find her people, she mixed with all sorts of races. Those elements of federalism, of integration, that's what creates nationhood. If all your life you have lived from start to beginning, sorry, wrong number. Sorry, wrong number. You cannot have been born here, school here, no, you need to go out. And you know, the problem with Lagosians is that, you know, they don't want to leave Lagos. A Taraba man, I lived in Lagos for 10 years, between 1991 and 2001. And I worked in City Bank. NIB is currently headquartered at Abuja, and I met again with other Nigerians. And I think for Lagos, sir, even on this national argument, I want to propose it. And I do hope this reaches even the governor and the leaders here. We should do a thank you Lagos project. Because a lot of us flowered and grew in Lagos, all over Nigeria. So whether we like it or not, we must thank Lagos for giving us that opportunity. That also is nationhood. That is part of nationhood and understanding what nationhood should be. I have Yorubas, Igbos in my village. I have some of them in Kaduna with me. I have them in Abuja. Some of them also have never been here. They speak better Hausa than they speak Yoruba. Integration, settling. I have some of my brothers in Shagamu here selling kola. They are Hausa men, northerners. They don't speak Hausa, they speak Yoruba. Their parents have been selling kola in Shagamu for the last 70 years. Yes, those things happen. You go to Idiarawa here in Goji. Yeah. That whole community, for those of you who know, Okay? If you go to Sabongari in Kano, you see the Igbo population. There's Enugu Road in that place, there's Anambra Road. You eat the best Isiwo in that place than even there. I'm saying, as a country, we can accept another passport and still accept you. But within us, we don't want to accept our own neighbors who are just 1,000 kilometers away. How does that work? So we need to think a bit more clearly about what nationhood really means. And I've given you the example of the Americans. When you see a Chinese American, very clearly, his eyes, you can see, even his accent. But he tells you he's American because it's a feeling. It's not just an identity. It's a feeling of belonging to a system that works. Okay, how do we get that system to work? And I think that is why doctors talk about getting it right. For me here, right or wrong is arguable in many ways. It's a moral issue, it's a philosophical issue. There might be much more than what it is. For me, getting it right means bringing out those outcomes, developmental outcomes that lead to proper development of our country. Education, health, security, agriculture. And if you go around the country, the stress index in all these thematic areas are just so bad that it's difficult to know where to start. But getting it right, and hopefully if we continue this conversation and we start to hammer on these thematic areas, hopefully we shall start seeing some results. Let's start from the economy. Okay? And again, I'm not going to lament, we know the issues. I'm not going to know the issues. And people run the economy doesn't run itself. People run organizations, people run communities, people run civil service engagements like that what we have. It's not on a autopilot. So you must have the right quality of people directing the economy. I mean, how many of you remember Education for All by the year 2000? How many remember that thing? Yes. How many of you? How many of you remember Vision 2020? Nigeria was built to be the 20th largest economy by 2020. At the time that was propagated, Nigeria was 26 on that list. We had to just move 6 places. We were even ahead of Turkey at that time. Today, we've gone beyond 30. We're not even on the top 30. Okay? What am I trying to say? Consistency in planning, continuity. Every new leader wants to come with his own program. Every new leader wants to abandon what has been done in the past. You throw the baby and the bath water. Alright? You don't take those things that are good from previous administrations to move them forward. Up to now, I'm still blaming the military. Yes, but for how long? For how long? There must be something about moving things forward. There must be continuity. And many of these policies, I have been in government. I've been privileged to serve in government. I work with 9 ministers, cabinet portfolio ministers in the government, and we did a lot of advisory work. We did a lot of things. But I clearly saw, I came from the private sector, I was a banker. I came from the private sector, I didn't work in government before then. And we need more of such things. It will interest you to know that even with civic engagement, in the US, for example, there are over 1.5 million NGOs doing civil society work to complement what government is doing. So we have to also be more participatory in these things. Coming back to the economy, again, we're still relying on oil. And you know, I like to, it's sometimes my friend said, Mike, you're simplifying this. But you see, this oil that we are producing, we don't produce oil, we extract it. So it's like your whole process. There's water already on the ground, in the ground. Creativity, that's not creative. And even in producing oil, we're producing the raw crude oil. We're not producing byproducts. We're not producing finished products. So we sell at $20, $50, $100 a barrel. Then we buy the derivatives at a much higher cost because of value addition. So the net effect even on our balance of trade is a negative. I'm not going to go into those details. But it just shows you that at the end of the day, we're not making anything from this so-called oil. We have to work towards the knowledge economy. I work in the knowledge economy, and by that I mean I like to share knowledge between areas of surplus and deficit, which means I like to share my knowledge, I like to participate in knowledge processes like what doctors are trying to do. I co-founded the Kaduna Business School in 2002. We've been running for about 20 years now. And The idea behind Kaduna Business School was to bring executive education skills to people in that part of the country. It is for everybody, by the way, not just for people in Kaduna. But we just thought, okay, let's do this. Having worked in Citibank for many years, you know, I mean, the kind of experience I got there was just awesome. It was a very good place to work. It's like the Rolls Royce of banking. And, you know, you just learn so much. And we said, okay, let's set this up. Okay, participation. Knowledge-based economy. We must promote creativity. We must promote innovation. Alright? Well, unfortunately for us, in this part of the world too, when you have knowledge, people feel threatened. When you know, people feel threatened. Instead of them to accommodate you, they now want to fight you because of what you know. And advanced economies thrive on the knowledge economy, the sharing of knowledge, the creativity. That's why when our people live here as doctors, as lab scientists, when they get out there, they get top jobs. We don't appreciate them here. Doctor is talking about his lab now, it's empty in India. When he was there, they had everything. Today it's empty. Why would I work in an empty hospital or an empty lab? You're going to move out. More being enrolled. But if you ask Prof now, he will tell you he has a long admission list. People can't come in because those in have not gone out. So that cycle is not moving. And when you stifle education, you stifle development. When you freeze education, you're freezing development. That's simple as that. Yes, because you know, I just told you about life expectancy in Nigeria at 54. Okay, and at 28, 30, people are not finished university. So the very 24 years ago, what really left of you? Pay lecturers very well. Give them good conditions. You see Prof here, Professor of Jurisprudence, it's just because he loves Nigeria. Now, international court can take him. Now, ECOWAS court can take him. Now, I have friends like that. Professor Adakole-Odike, good friend of mine, he is all over the world doing cases everywhere. So civil society engagement is good, and I want to commend Dr. again for that. Then another point before I conclude is getting it right with foreign and diplomatic relations. You know, we used to be called Giant of Africa. Nigeria used to be called Giant of Africa. We are no longer giants. And even if we are giants, we are sleeping and even snoring giants. Alright? We've lost that. It's not about size, it's about quality. What makes me distinguish? It's just nomenclature. It's just nomenclature. Obama is called Obama. Kennedy is called Kennedy. What's all this? Sometimes you see them, their pictures, chief, doctor. Why is it done in the world where people put chief and doctor in the same? You know, it's just, and we're educated people. You know, so there are all sorts of funny things. So we must redefine leadership and give it its proper meaning. So I want to urge all of us here that if you want to get it right, this is just my few perspectives because there's very limited time. But I'm very happy and I'll be willing to talk with any of you on these matters and extend it. I'm running for office, but this is not the platform of campaign, so I'm not here to campaign. Okay, I didn't want to go say it. But we must also redefine leadership by the new people we want to put in there. We are tired of people who have been there for too long. And if you have been there for too long and you're not doing anything different, then why keep the person? Joe Biden is in his 70s. Trump was in his 70s. But they are doing new things. So I'm not against seniority, old age or anything. But if you're going to be old and serving as a leader, you must bring quality to bear. And that quality will only be seen in the lives of the people of our community, our states, and our country. I thank you for listening.
I'm glad that people like him are venturing into politics. It means there is hope. Somebody tried to ask a question earlier when Prof was talking. And most times we shift responsibilities and problems of Nigeria on politicians alone, and we the citizens, we let ourselves out of the problem. Largely, the problem of Nigeria is with us, those who govern us. You know, earlier when when I was trying to introduce Prof, I said there is a great abnormalities in our nation because you have a company and you want to employ me to serve your company, and then you ask me to give you money. I am the one you want to employ to serve you, and then I'm the one that will give you amala, like you said. I'm the one that will give you rice. Meanwhile, you want to employ me. Now, if you allow me to do that, that means you have licensed me to defraud you. We collect from them right before we send them. They will bring amala because very soon they will bring amala. Very soon they will bring bag of rice. They will bring pure water. They will bring all manner of things, and then the citizens, because they are hungry, because they have been deprived, because these people have deprived us. They have deprived us. Instead of us citizens to look for new hands, people that we believe they have the capability, they have the intelligence, they have the moral standing to go and represent us, we begin to think about where he's coming from. Nepotism, oh, it's from my extraction, oh, it's my brother. You know your brother is a thief. And you are the one who is standing as a guarantor for your brother to go and work in Central Bank. And he's a thief. Because what we have in our nation is that the moment anybody gets to the place of authority, we say, oh, it's our turn. Our turn mentality, our turn. That means now everybody has stolen, so it is like your own turn to steal and bring it to our family. You know, when I joined NEPA several years ago, I was working in NEPA. The people we gone to that were employed together to serve in NEPA.
Magaji, well, is a child of my papa. It's a custom. He's my very good friend. Bless you. He has to go right now.
Is he also from Abuja?
No, it's from yes.
Yes, Ibrahim.
So that our country can be great. In 1983, I'm sorry, journalists like to tell stories, so you have to bear with me today. In 1983, Saudi Arabia, the king of Saudi Arabia used to come to the University College in Ibadan to come and meet his personal doctor, Professor Adakole-Odike. And then he felt that they can actually build an hospital as good as UCH in Riyadh because they had a lot of money and decided that we are going to build our own hospital. Then when the hospital has been built, he invited Professor Sutoku to come and head the school. And Professor Sutoku said, no, I cannot come. I would rather stay in Nigeria because I have students I have to take care of. Besides that, my mother is an old woman, and I don't want her to die while I'm far away in Saudi Arabia. Today now, many Nigerians are willing to kill their mothers so that they can go to Saudi Arabia and other places. We have identified certain things that we need to be cautious of. As the four of the panelists have said, this country is over-governed. Too many governors, too many ministers, too many commissioners, too many local government chairmen, too many sirens on the road, too many confusion. So what do we do about that? In 1958, the party British government set up a commission under a British civil servant called Mr. Williams to ask what do we do about the so many ethnic groups in Nigeria. Now, At that time, there were 3 dominant political parties in Nigeria. I won't take too much of your time. I think within the next 10 to 20 minutes, I should be through. I think that Nigeria should become independent. But they could not agree on the creation of regions. The action group said, let us have new regions. We need a new region in the western region. We need a new region in the east. And we need 2 new regions in the north. Because the northern region is 75% of the landmass of Nigeria. So the action group wanted 2 regions, the Middle Belt region and the Borno region. Anybody who is conscious of Nigeria will know why the action group ownership wanted those 2 regions. The other 2 political parties, Northern People's Congress, headed by Alhaji Ahmadu Bello, did not want those 2 regions in the north. And the reason was simple. The action group would have been the main beneficiaries. The NCNC would have benefited because the Big West would have been NCNC. So, because of temporary gain, they could not move forward, and therefore Nigeria became independent in 1960 with 3 unequal regions who were seriously opposed to each other. Imagine having triplets, and the triplets are always fighting. That was the case of Nigeria, and therefore Nigeria became independent in 1960. By 1962, the action group crisis started. By 1963, Awolowo was in prison. By 1964, the TB riots and crisis. By 1965, the Western region crisis. By 1966, the coup. In 1966, Nigeria had 3 heads of government. In January 1966, the head of government who welcomed the Commonwealth leaders to Nigeria was Alhaji Tafawa Balewa. By February 1966, the leader was Nigerian Major General Ibrahim. By July of the same year, I became Yakubu Gowon, 1 year, 3 heads of state. This country. So when people say Nigeria is going to be, by something is going to happen, I say, this country has seen wahala before now. It's not a new thing. So we have killed, before Obasanjo became head of state, we have killed every single person who became Nigerian head of state apart from Yakubu Gowon. If your father is a hunchback, you cannot ask him when he's going out to put the hunchback at home so that he can look normal outside. He must go out wherever he's going with his hunchback home. We have 36 states. We have high cost of governance. One thing we must try to do is how our country can make more money. More money to share. If you think somebody is going to consciously reduce his own salary in the National Assembly, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. No.
By the grace of God, the reason why so many of us were not aware of the plan of the citizen. By the grace of God, there are few people. By the grace of God, we are going to even go to higher institution, secondary school. It's in the plan. And then even people that want to contest now, even including Sawolu, we are meeting them. What they have, what is their plan on Lagos State? Virtually this one happened in 2019 when I started it. And thank God, we were there as a married 2019. Now, some of them they came. And 2020, we'll see, because of COVID. Now they will tell us what is their plan for the people they want to govern. Very important, because people are just voting. They cannot express their plan. Even when they say they are only deceiving them. And this is where, because challenge is coming. People that want to vote, people that want to contest, they have to tell us the truth. The time has come. God bless you.
And the title of this particular program is Get It Right. Now, getting into it like my able speaker now actually say, how do I convince the market mama not to collect 2 derica of rice? Do you understand, sir? How do I convince area boys, not to collect money from politicians? It is known that whenever election is coming, cash flow from the government, be the sitting government, will be withdrawn so that people will be tight and will be wanting. And that's how they catch us. Somebody like me will be enlightened and will say whatever the hunger is, I will hold it. But those people, how do you convince them? That is the mentality that has been placed. And I want to talk about the journalists, sir. When we were growing, we knew you, I know this Baba, I know Baba here, and I know what they do. Even during the military junta, I was telling somebody what that Babarinsa and others face, the arrest and everything, and we will be rioting outside during the military regime. But now, even during Obasanjo, a lot still happen. Yes, sir. Now, the journalism now is now like nothing is happening. Somebody like me, this is my pastor, I am ready to protest. It doesn't matter, because we need it. The journalists now, they are now like being bought. They are now being bought. I think they understand what I'm saying. What is really happening? How do we get it right? And how do we feel okay as citizens of this country? You're welcome.
About getting it right, I learned today that history is an integral part of our progress as a country. And I have been made to know, because even when I was in secondary school, I did not take history as a subject. So hearing a lot of stories from learned people like you was uplifting. It was like, okay, we are just repeating what has already been done before. And if there's one thing we know is that we should learn from history. Now, how do we now push the movement to integrate history back into the syllabus? Because it doesn't feel like the government is considering that at all, since it's probably in the first place. So how do we do that? Thank you.
Very much. I really want to ask this question, and I'm putting this question to our father here, Ibrahim. Sir, in so many countries I've been to, Babarinsa, pardon me, sir. It's because I'm a Yoruba.
Don't tell me that.
Yes, sir. In few countries I've been to, in the course of life, civilized word, let me use that word, I discovered that in politics, when you have the leader, the president, and you must have an opposition, and in the parliament, the opposition from time to time, they put the leader, the president, into check. They bring him up, they question him, that is the opponent or the opposition. And this helps to see transparency in government. But in Nigeria, I have not seen such thing. And yet we claim that we are using or we are under democracy. That's why I classify it as mediocrity. I have not seen such thing. When a man becomes a president in Nigeria, you do whatever you wish. Your opposition, from the day it is announced that you lost the election, the opposition is silent until 4 years' time before you would know that there is opposition. I think this is not normal. What do you think about this, sir? Don't you think that it's time that opposition start to checkmate the leaders? Because this will help to bring about transparency and good governance. Thank you very much.
I think we have so much turned these politicians into demigods. So how do we demystify the politicians? Because once the politician gets to the office, he has over 1,001 people tied to his apron or to his clothes, looking forward for their daily stipend or just to take something from him. So we need to demystify the politician first. Once he's in an office now, you see that definitely everybody he has uncles, he has money to cater for. So how do we now take that post down? Thank you.
We'll talk, then just briefly, so that we can, within the little time available to us, we'll be able to round up. Thank you, sir.
Well, let me just talk briefly about journalism. I don't know whether there is anybody in this hall who has read any newspaper this week. Okay. There is somebody who has read this hard copy this week. Now, you see, Nigerians are finding ignorance very attractive. They think there is something fashionable about knowing nothing. So, last year I was asked to talk to young people at Abuja University. And randomly I asked them to, some four of them, I said, okay, what's your name? I mentioned his name. What is the meaning of your surname? Many people don't know about themselves and don't know about their environment and therefore don't know about their country, because ignorance is an infectious disease. Many people now copy with them. There was a poet who said, the children of Caesar are walking the streets of Rome unknown and unknown to themselves. Many of them don't know that they descended from Augustus Caesar. They are ignorant about it. So, those who are asking for robust journalism should also try to patronize journalism product. That is what will give media houses enough money to hire good reporters who can give Nigerians what we need. Reporters are not missionaries, and they don't work for the Boy Scout or the Red Cross. Therefore, they need to be paid. And they can only be paid when the media houses have money. So, take a step. Tomorrow buy a newspaper. Then you will have done something that is good. The media alone is not really to criticize the government. It's to set the agenda and also report what is happening. So when you see a governor opening a road appearing in the newspaper, it is important because it is a matter of record. When Nigeria was celebrating 100th anniversary, I was invited to Abuja by the Minister of Information to see the gallery where they were having the exhibition. And as he was showing me around, I said, well, the picture of Sir Odele Yefadansi is not here. He said, who is that? I said, Odele Yefadansi was governor of Western Region from 1963 to 1966. So, we don't know that we need to keep records. We don't. So if at the federal level they could meet that kind of record, what is happening at the state level? And what about our family records? How many of us remember the names of our great-grandfathers? Who knows? Who do you vote for as president? That's your personal choice, but you must not make the choice out of ignorance. Ask, get knowledge, know what by you are voting, then go ahead and vote. Don't say, I'm watching it on television, my vote doesn't matter. then you are if you don't vote, or you don't have the voting, or you don't have the privacy, you are the one depriving yourself of your right to vote. It's a personal right to vote, but it is for you to exercise it. There is nothing wrong with having people, in democracy, people have the right to elect wrong leaders. People in this country whose certificate we don't know, whose project we cannot quantify for. People have become governors who went to court to query whether they have school science or not. Because the citizens have exercised their right to elect bad leaders. But we are saying enough is enough. Yes, sir. Let us elect good and competent people to office. It's the same thing whether if you don't buy newspapers, you can't know history, because newspaper is history in already. Let us compel our politicians to ensure that secondary school libraries, they have newspapers and magazines. Those are little things we can do for ourselves. But if we continue to complain, we don't do anything about it. The politician will think it is not important. Somebody said we mystify politicians. We all do that now. I just told you about Sheikh when he was invited to a church. If a governor enters here now, the whole place will change. Is that not so? In January this year, we were to launch a book for Shibisi Akande at the hotel. And we invited the president of Nigeria. A book presentation is to make money for the author and the publisher. But immediately the president finished his speech and decided to leave, everybody followed him and they all became, I think you were there, but they all became empty. It's because we worship politicians. We are all guilty of it. So we should pray to God and repent about that. It is not really good enough for our country. The presidential system does not really allow the opposition to perform its job. It's different from the parliamentary system. The presidential system is a winner-take-all system. When you elect somebody the president, you have elected a democratically elected emperor. It's actually an emperor. So you don't expect anybody in the world to say, we want Buhari to come and appear before us now. That's a law. You are asking a very difficult thing. It is very, all over the world where we have elected president, it's difficult to summon them to the National Assembly. All over the world. Because it's no longer an ordinary person. When Buhari is visiting Lagos, they will close the airspace. So you know that no other plane must fly while he's on his way. When it's about 10 minutes for him to land, no plane must land. And if he's traveling from the airport to this place, they will line every route with policemen and soldiers. There will be at least 2,000 soldiers on that route. So you know that, and his car must not drive on either right or left of the road. The car of the president must drive at the center of the road, which means that the car must not fit. There must no other car on that road while he's driving. It's not only a Nigerian thing, it's all over the world though. At least I've seen the cover of the American president and I realized that it is really formidable. So you are the one who has chosen to elect an emperor. Don't now come and complain that you have an emperor. But I agree that opposition political parties, not really necessarily those in parliament, must oppose the government intelligently. They must give us information. If they say that senators are having so amount of money, let them tell us whether it is true or not. But there is a conspiracy among the political elites to make as much money from the public cover as possible. Nobody is, once you enter the national assembly, ask your friend, how much are you earning? He will not tell you. no matter how close you are, there is a conspiracy among them. And you know this year, when they say, let people come and pay money for nomination for president, and people who you thought could not afford it are bringing 100 million naira to apply for a job.
Well, I can call your name, Dr. Bayo Robert, Mrs. Olajide, Apostle Lumisi, God bless you, my brother there, and Adakole there. Okay, I can't call everybody on my hand. And every other person. Really, I say thank you to the ushers at the background and those who have worked tirelessly. Brother Bayomi is not forgotten, he's bending down his head. He is the right hand man. And Brother Andrew, and every other person. No, I can't mention, but because we're not too many, so I try to mention everybody. But most importantly, what we are taking home today, what I want to say is, as we get across, please connect with us. Connect with us because we want to take this program to the next level. We don't want it to just be a one-time thing we do. So we will be sending requests for support because we were discussing, I said the vision is big and it is as big as your pocket. It's as big as what you have and we can move it very far. Thank God for the social media. Thank God we can do so much.